Hello again, friends. It is Paige Evans here with a new process video using Garden Shoppe. And like so many of my layouts, this page is going to start with a punch. This is a tropical flower punch from We Are Memory Keepers, and it has scoring lines that you fold and create super awesome texture and dimension, like so. So I'm using two pattern papers from Garden Shoppe. Paper 6, which has all these colorful leaves, and paper 4, which has stripes of colorful wood grain. So to use this punch, put it in your paper, squeeze, release, and then, well, Paige cut off the corner. So let's try that again. Push it in all the way until you feel the resistance. Push it in, squeeze, release. There we go. See? Sometimes things don't work out perfectly, and that's okay. So pinch each petal and it's going to automatically crease in that score line, which is super awesome. And it's going to give these flowers tons of texture and interest. So slide the punch in again, squeeze, release, and then you can remove the flower, pinch the petals, and then you've got lots of awesome texture. Love it. So from this paper, same thing. Slide the punch in until you feel it. Squeeze, release. I'm okay if the flowers or overlap onto the color blocks. So my plan is to punch all of the flowers and then park myself in front of the TV and watch a show as I give them dimension. And then one thing I want to do, let me show you real quick once I get to the green, the green section. Okay, so from the green flowers, what I want to do is turn these into leaves. So what I mean by that is I am going to trim them into leaf shapes. There's one. You should be able to get 4 or 5. I cut off the corner of this one when I was punching, and that's okay. There's a workaround. Let me show you. So I'm just trimming these into more leaf shapes. What's on the B side? It's white with colorful polka dot hearts. And let's give this little guy a trim. Okay, so what I will do with these leaves then is also crimp them right along that score line, and then I'll be able to use these in between the flowers. Now for the background, I have a few different options on my mind. Let me crease these flowers really quick before I get too far into this process. I just want to make sure it's going to turn out. I have an idea in my mind, but I don't really know if it's going to work until I get it onto the background paper, and then I can envision the next step. So for the background papers, I am thinking either a salmon pink stripes or black and white stripes. So what I'll do is slide the papers on and just quickly take a gander and see if I like the way it looks. I feel like the colors are kind of too similar. Let me just fold this one too. This was the one that I nicked the corner, but that's okay. So I feel like that one's a little too orange. Everything's kind of blending in. I need more contrast. Kind of the same for this one. I feel like the colors are very, very similar. On the black and white, I like the way that they pop from this black and white background. So friends, I'm going to spend the next little while punching flowers and making leaves, and then I will figure out the placement that I want them to be on this black and white striped background paper, which is the B side of paper 13, also from Garden Shoppe. Okay, I'll be back in a bit once I've got all my flowers and leaves punched and folded. I have my flowers punched and formed and some leaves made. I might create more, we will see. So I want to trim off the barcode strip now and kind of figure out the formation that I want these flowers in. I have a few different ideas in mind, maybe just like a column. And I've got these two photos of Jane in a pretty flowery dress and she's twirling around. So kind of like that organic look of just having the flowers falling. Or I also was thinking about having them radiating, coming out from the bottoms of the photos. So I like that too. Or having my photos kind of overlapping and then, sorry, my phone, I forgot to turn it on silent, so there we go. Or kind of down and across and then spilling down at the bottom. Let's see here. Definitely not gluing anything down yet, just wanting to see which placement I want first, and then for sure I'm going to do some mixed media on the background as well as on top of the flowers just to kind of make them all uniform. So decisions. I'm not sure which way to go. If there are any flowers like this, I'm planning to tuck them underneath so that that little jagged edge gets hidden. So, okay, I need to decide and then go from there. Alright, after going back and forth about all the different configurations, I think I'm gonna go this route. So I'm going to take my phone, take a picture of it to refer back to, and then start doing some mixed media. So the first thing I want to do is apply a layer of gesso. So I'm using white gesso by Liquitex. I'm gonna drop it onto the background, and then this is just like my previous layout, using my Vicky Bouton scraper tool to scrape it across the bathroom. Across the background, kind of in a T shape, because I have a little bit of stuff up at the top, my photos, and then cascading flowers down to the bottom. Okay, I think I'm actually going to use my fingers too, just to smudge it around. Got a little crusty in there. Extend it down towards the bottom. It needs a little bit more down here. Okay. Maybe a little bit more out towards the edges. Oh, that was quite a bit. That's okay, we can blend it in. And a lot of this is going to get covered with my photos and embellishments anyways. But it's always fun to have a mixed media layer to add some pops of color and interest. Okay, so I will let this dry and meanwhile clean off my hands. My gesso has dried. So now I'm bringing in my two favorite watercolor sets, Pastel Dreams and Tropicals by Prima. These are my favorite colors. And I'm just going to start by dropping paints over the gesso in matching colors and splashing a lot on top as well, going over the edges of the gesso. Okay, so now we'll move into orange. Try and mix up a color that matches the orange in this collection in Garden Shoppe. So mixing some of my oranges together. Got a little bristle in there, or it could be cat hair. That happens a lot. Mix up some more. Get it a little lighter. On to the next color. How about kind of the warmish pink? So this pink next. It's like in the same colorway. It's very warmish. Drop some splashes around. So I'm squeezing the bristles of the paintbrush to get those larger paint drops around. So it kind of looks like a mess as you're doing this, but then once you get all of the other things on top, the photos and the other embellishments, it really comes together. Okay, I need the purpley pink. Let's see if I can mix that color. So let's start with let's start with just this light purple over here. And it's got a little bit of orange in it. Okay, so this purple, I think it needs a little more pigment. Pick up some more. Splashy, splashy on top. See if I can drop some bigger paint blobs. And then make a periwinkle. So to make periwinkle, I mix purple and blue. Pick up some of this blue. This set is a little more opaque. That looks pretty matchy-matchy. I need more pigment. More of that light blue. Drop it on in. Splash. Squeeze the bristles. And let's even we'll do this little side with the green. So to get that green, this one is very yellowy. So I'll add some of that green into it. I just need it to be a little bit lighter. With that, it's very neon. So we'll mix it in like that. I might even want to blend more colors. I've got big swatches right now, but if I want to blend other colors into it, I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I like more colors. So you can drop some additional colors in and around. Speaking of additional colors, I want to drop in some gold paint as well. So I am going to mix it up into the cap. I think this is almost dried out at this point. I might have to bring in something else. Maybe it's working. So splash some gold on top. Add in, how about some white acrylic paint as well? So there's my white acrylic paint from Apple Barrel. So once again, let me move over so I've got more space. In the lid, add some water and then pick up white paint. Mix it into the lid and then splash it on top just to kind of tone it down. Okay, and then I'm gonna let this dry. The background is dry, so I am going to start covering it up with my photos and flowers again, just to see how I'm liking it. So just quickly spread them out, mixing them up. See, most of the mixed media work is getting covered up. We'll add the leaves in last. Up on the sides. Okay, and then pops of green with the little leaves here and there. Not adhering anything. Trying to figure out placement first. Make sure this is indeed the direction I want to go. Putting those leaves, tucking them underneath here and there for that pop of green. Okay, so that's kind of fun. Maybe I'm gonna sit on it for a minute and make sure I'm happy with this. I can move any of the leaves, or sorry, the flowers around if I feel like there's too many next to each other that are the same color. Looks pretty evenly spaced. And once I'm ready, I will glue them down. Let's see. Awesome. I think I like the placement of these. So I am going to use my favorite glue. It's Precision Craft Glue by Barely Art, and dab a little speck if I can. I have to use the needle to get the glue going. So add a little dot onto the backs of the flowers and then press them in place. So I will do that for every single flower and leaf until they're all attached in place. Be right back. Now that everything is glued in place, I want to top everything with some layers of white paint, gold paint, maybe even some black paint. So first I'm covering my photos because they're already glued down. And I do want the paint to get on as much of the flowers as possible, but there's already some that are overlapping that are stuck in place, and that's okay. So this is my first time using this Deco Art gold paint, so we'll see what happens. I'm dropping water and picking up some of the paint like I do with the white acrylic paint and see if it's splashable. Oh, it looks like it's working. Awesome. Gold paint first. That should give it some fun shimmer and shine. Now I want to drop in white paint. I've already done the white paint before on the first background layer. So splash this on top. So this is tying all of these flowers together. And then I have another set of watercolors called Vintage Pastels. And there is a charcoal color that I really like. So I'm going to pick up some of that and also splash it right on top. Might plop some larger black paint splatters here and there for some fun contrast. And how about we do the same with the white acrylic paint? Let's get some big paint splatters in there just by squeezing. Okay, I'm going to let this dry or speed it up with a hairdryer. Okay, so the background is very, very busy and I feel like I need a large title to kind of tie it all together, make it not so busy. So I have die cut this beautiful using my Cricut, and this is actually not one of my cut files. I don't have good handwriting, so I just searched for beautiful and found this one in Silhouette Studio. But I don't know, the whites on this, in this collection or on this paper and that I'm using aren't very white. They're kind of muted. So I cut it also from black and I bring in the black and now it's just too dark. So what I'm thinking is actually of doing an offset, meaning I want to use both of these and just have the black layer peeking out from behind. So I'm going to glue these together and then pop them onto the layout just like this. Got foam squares on the back of this title. You can see how it's slightly offset. And I don't feel like it's covering anything too important on the photos. You can still see her face. You can still tell that she is twirling. So that is my title. Now, let's add some butterflies. These are layered butterflies from Garden Shoppe. And I want to add 3 of them to create a visual triangle. So one at the top, one at the side, and about an orange one at the bottom. For kind of a subtitle from the thickers, there is a word that says grow, and I feel like everything is kind of slightly off to the left, so I want to balance that over on the right by adding this word. And then from the die cuts, I've kept all of the die cuts in a little baggie. There is one that says Bloomin' Beautiful, so I will tuck that underneath the title. And so now I feel like it's more balanced. Just this little bit of extra clustering of embellishments balances on the right. Also from the thickers, there are a bunch of copper foiled hearts. So I am going to add them to the centers of some of these flowers. So we've got that. Actually, let's dot the eye with one as well. So we've got them cascading down the page to tie in that little bit of shininess. And what else do I want to add? How about from the 8-page sticker book, there are 3 of the little words. This one says beautiful, so I will create another visual triangle with these little words. One says grateful, so I'll add that next to this butterfly. And then one says thankful, so how about we'll put all of these next to the butterflies to help to help create those little clusters. Cute little clusters. Let me overlap it just a bit. Okay. What else? What else should I add? From the transparency stickers, there's one with some buttons. So we can just add some of these into the mix for a final little pop of color and interest. And since they're transparent, they don't stand out too much. It's just kind of a little finishing touch. Little red one. I'm adding all of them from this page. I think I used the green one on my previous process video. Then for journaling, grabbing a black pen, and I will write some journaling lines, just winging it. And let's just write. That finishes up. Here is the finished layout. Let me bring it up closer so we can see all the details. There we go. You can see all the paint splatters, all of the dimension, the shimmer and shine from the copper embellishments. There we go. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you again in my next video. Have a happy scrappy day.